and then I got some wiring here that needs to be done. I got a breaker that flipped off in the middle of the night, and I got up and got to doing some investigating. Turns out there's more things wired to that breaker than I realized. You know, I inherited a lot of wiring in this house. I did a lot of it myself, but some of it was already here, so I'm looking at some of that previous wiring and thinking that's a little suspect. I need to spend some time with that, some quality time with the wiring. So I believe I did say I was going to be doing some wiring. Well, I'm down here in the basement doing just that. This is a 200 amp breaker box that I put in right after I bought the place. The place had an old rotted out 100 amp breaker that had been flooded. It wasn't even a breaker, it was a fuse box. First thing I did was replace it with this. I'm having a problem. I have one fuse here, that one breaker that flips, and when I started trying to investigate what it ran to, it looks to me like it runs up to this little box, and this little box looks like it's got just a whole bunch of stuff hooked in here. So I've been following wires. I believe what we have here is this is the wire that breaker, this is the hot wire from the breaker, and it comes into here. And then it's wired to this wire, which goes down into the foundation. And this wire comes out in the yard out there somewhere. I believe there used to be like a street light that sat out there, and that wire went to it. So it's not connected to anything, and I've seen the other end of it. It's sitting out there in the yard. It's a good candidate for being grounded out. These two boxes were together, and here's a hot wire in, here's a hot wire out, there's another hot wire out, there's another hot wire out that goes across here and across there and up into the foundation. And it wouldn't surprise me if that wire doesn't go all the way up the back side of the house and back in and then winds up going to the bedroom. So I'm thinking there's a good chance this is the wire that actually goes to the bedroom. If I can get this loose, run a separate breaker on it, put the bedroom on a separate breaker, and then leave the breaker I have on this one, which basically only runs these two plug-ins and a light under the sink in the kitchen and a little light over there. That should be fine. Take this wire out, because this is probably what shortened me out right here, where it runs out in the yard and goes to nothing. And then run a separate wire, a whole separate breaker over to the kitchen for the refrigerator and the hot water heater, and another separate wire upstairs to wire the air conditioner to, which will also give me power that I can use when I extend the sewing room over there. So that's my work. Now, having said that, I'm in the basement, I'm looking at sills. I don't know if you can see this or not, but this is post beetle rot right here. So that means I'm going to have to do, I did these sills here. These are new sills over to here. These sills are still here and they still have a lot of wood in them, but I've noticed from the outside they got some rot, and from the inside, if you see all up in there, there's some rot along there. So that's a project I'm going to have to be looking at pretty soon. What I have done in some places where I had good wood with some rotted wood is taken a hatchet and hatcheted out all the bad wood and replace it with good wood. It's a little tricky, but it can be done. But that's getting me off onto another project. Today I'm going to focus on this one. So I'm going to get all these wires loose, wire them separately, see what they go to, and then from there I should be able to figure out what happens next. I got some wiring to do. I'm just going to put the camera down and focus so I don't get myself electrocuted, and we'll see what we come up with.